If our minds and our eyes belong to the translators, if they're the ones that get our attention, then our hearts belong to the epic storytellers. They are the ones that will keep our attention. And if you want to stand out in a new age of influence, you are going to need to learn the art of epic storytelling. And why is that? Why is that? Other than, the fact that we all know that most of the things that caught your attention when you were scrolling this morning would have been epic stories. It is because we are storytelling creatures. We are hardwired for story. Since caveman time, story is how we connect. Story is how we learn to trust. Story is how we learn things. We are hardwired to notice, identify, and engage with story above all else. And not only that, but story is the only road to empathy. I can't feel empathy for you unless you tell me your story, I imagine myself in your shoes, and I have an experience of what that must feel like. Story is the only road to empathy and emotion is the only road to action. We usually only take action when propelled by emotion or empathy, majority of the time. So if we want people to take action, we're going to need to learn how to tell epic stories. I'm going to give you another quick example. Who's seen this, An Inconvenient Truth? Has anyone seen it? It's getting a bit old now. Yep, I still love it. So An Inconvenient Truth, for those of you who haven't seen it, Al Gore, previous presidential candidate in the USA, huge climate change advocate and campaigner, he made this video. It was an hour-long presentation. It was 1 hour story where he talked about the impact of climate change on the world. Now, bear in mind, before he released this, the scientific community had for years, for a decade, been trying to get our attention on this, had been using statistics, case studies, pie charts, graphs, to try and get us to stand up and take notice about what was happening on the planet. And nothing changed. Al Gore tells one compelling story, 1 hour, one compelling story, and it goes viral, absolutely viral. Because he was able to talk to our emotions. He was able to talk to us about what our homes were going to look like 10 years from now, what our children's futures were going to be like, the animals that we love and enjoy, what's going to happen to them. He was able to tell a story in a way where it became our story. We had empathy and emotion attached to it. And because of that, we took action. 50% of anybody that watched this made a carbon offset contribution. So that's just to say that 50% of the people that watched this paid money to offset their negative impact on the planet. 50% took financial action due to one compelling story that the scientific community had not been able to crack. Now, there's probably a few of you out there who are thinking right now, this is really good, but you know what, he's powerful, and he's probably an extrovert, and he was a presidential candidate, he's bound to be charismatic, and he's got production behind him, and I don't have any of that. And if that is your story, I'm just going to invite you, I just want you to put it to one side, just for a little while, just put it over there. You can pick it up later if you want to, but just for a while, just suspend it. Because here's another one that I believe busts that myth completely.
I saw my client's name on the front page of the newspaper. A few months earlier, I had written the life insurance for this father of 3, young guy, starting his construction business. And when I saw the name, I thought, no, it can't be him. But I turned the page and there was his picture, and it was him. And they had died in a plane crash. So I went into my office and I called his now widow on the phone and told her, don't worry, it's all going to be okay. We don't have to do anything today. I'll be with you. And that night before I went home, I thought, I can go over and at least make sure she and her 3 kids are okay, maybe get some groceries, something. But when I got to their neighborhood, I had to park 2 blocks away because there were cars lining the streets everywhere. When I got to their house, the front door was open, and the home was packed with people. And so I stood there, and there was a woman at the door who said, would you like to sign the guest book? So I bent down to sign the guest book, and I thought, I'll come back when it's not so busy. And right then, she saw me, and she squealed really loud my name and came running through the house, then grabbed a hold of me and just was squishing me really good and whispered in my ear, "You're the only one who can help. You're the only one who can help." And I looked at all those people around her, all those people that love her, and I realized, and it struck me, there is something uniquely that we do, that we are the only one who can really make a difference in that situation.
Who here would do business with her? Who here would want to do business with her, like in any capacity? I just want to have a cup of tea with her. That video was called the Worst and the Best Day in My Career. The Worst and the Best Day. And she's not powerful or hugely charismatic, but she just told an epic, epic story. Now, you guys have access to so many stories, so many incredible stories, and I've heard some of them since I've been here. There is no reason why you can't tell those. There is no reason why you can't hunt those down and get those out there and learn how to tell them in compelling ways. Because it is that would make you and that made her stand out from the crowd. So what makes a compelling story? What makes an epic, epic story? It's three things in my experience working with a lot of compelling storytellers, people who speak in rooms of thousands of people. It just boils down to three things. The first thing is it personal? Do I believe you? Do I believe you? Have you walked this road before? Or, if you haven't, have you held the hand of somebody else who has walked this road before? Is it personal? Because we connect with personal stories. We connect with real stories. Second one, is it relevant? And we get caught on this one a lot. Is it relevant to my world? I lose track of the amount of newsletters and pieces of content that I receive that are, real estate agents are the worst. Look, I just sold a house. I sold another house. Or newsletters that say, guess what, it's our 10-year anniversary. And you're thinking, that's nice. I'm not going to share it with anybody I know, but it's nice. Is it relevant to me? Is it a situation that I can see myself facing? Can I see myself in that situation? Is it relevant? And the last one, the important one, is a motive. Is it a motive? Are you using emotional language? Or are you using statistics, jargon, all the things, all the words that we tend to use to hide behind when we're a little bit nervous? Is it a motive? It's a wonderful example of emotive language the other day. I was watching David Attenborough, who I love. And I'm watching him, and it was a documentary about under the sea. And he was saying that he was in this little submarine thing, and he was 100 kilometers under the ocean. Is that possible? You're laughing. Doesn't sound like it's possible. Just ignore. I said no statistics. Ignore the statistics. And so he's talking about the cubic metric tons of pressure. Is that right? Cubic metric tons of pressure that would be on his shoulders if he wasn't in that submarine. And he's throwing around numbers, and I'm just sat there very knowledgeably nodding. No idea what he's talking about. And then he said this. He said, it's a bit like if I were to hold a 10-ton truck on my finger. And I went, oh, I get that. Like, I've had a visceral experience of that. I have an emotional response to what that would be like. Heavy, hard. So, emotive language, not hiding behind jargon. Those are the three things that make a compelling story. So, again, because I really want you guys to leave here with some stuff that is actually actionable for you. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I want you to talk to the person next to you. And I want you to have a think about what stories could you be sharing? What epic stories could you be sharing in your space in order to stand out? Okay, 30 seconds, up the music. What stories could you be sharing?